Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another exciting discussion today, another Minecraft discussion. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and what I would love to chat with you about today is, I got Wood's hair today, is how we think of self-care. Because self-care, we tend to think of it as a reward. Self-care is not a reward, it's a responsibility, responsibility to you. Just like anything else is a responsibility. We have responsibilities to partners, to kids, to golden retrievers, to pay the bills, mow the lawn, keep the house clean, cook dinner, keep track of appointments, and then never mind the whole workplace, responsibility hierarchy. It is a responsibility, and we are at the top. So that's the first thing. That self-care is not a reward, it's a responsibility. Okay? It doesn't mean if you do like a 6-week regimen with a neighbor and you check all the boxes, you completed all the goals and all that, and you go treat yourself to this like $8 fancy smoothie. Well, good for you. That falls under it, but that's not it. It's part of it, but the mentality is different. We've got to shift out of that mindset that self-care is like extra or something. Like it's part of like brushing your teeth. It's part of the whole picture every single day. It's our responsibility, mind, body. Okay, and also how Oprah, my dear friend Oprah, talks about keeping ourselves filled up. So this is next, not second, because that would make it sound like it's less important when it's all even. Because our number one job is to keep ourselves filled up. And she talks about, sometimes people will say, she's so full of herself, she's so full of herself. And now she says, it's a compliment. It is a compliment. Why? Because we cannot give what we do not have. When our cup runneth over, okay, then all the rest that spills out can be for everybody else. But what's in the cup is yours. We've got to be filled up in order to be able to give anything to anybody else authentically, where we are not depleted, where that comes into mindful giving versus mindless giving. When our cup runneth over, we can give mindfully because we're kind of channeling that. Kind of like, oh, actually, this is a really great example. You can see that the brook is here, it's running in that way, and then running under the bridge this way. So that's the same as when we're channeling energy, or like in Chinese medicine, they would call it qi. So we don't get depleted because it's a constant energy flow, just like this brook here. That was just great. I didn't even plan that one. That was just so fun right now. Nature took care of it. All right. And then lastly is the freedom part, because people, I think, are so, they say, I want to increase my happiness. I'm after happiness. I'm seeking happiness, happiness, happiness. Okay, that's all true, and I'm all about it, all right? The positivity, the happiness. Happiness really is under the umbrella of freedom, because what we're really all seeking when we say we're seeking happiness is we are seeking freedom. Freedom from what keeps us locked in, because then happiness, authentic happiness, just happens. So, and that can be different depending on how your life is gone and the whole thing, your schema, your wiring, all of it. And so, like, for me, what was holding me back for years, I wouldn't say holding me back in a way, because I was always moving forward. I just would get stuck. Yeah, I would have that super glue pull me back when I would land in certain circumstances or with certain people that would, trigger that feeling. That word's overused, but that is what it is. Trigger that feeling. So for me, it was that feeling of being unworthy that would occasionally get me like in quicksand, temporarily, until I could step out to higher ground. So for me, it was the unworthiness, feeling unloved, unvaluable for a long time. It wasn't like it was all day, every day, because no, I stepped out of it, but it was kind of like it was like a splinter. You just like, and then you can pretend it's not there and walk around on it, put a Band-Aid on it, put a gauze on it. You can still keep going on the hike, but like, it's there kind of thing. That unworthiness, unlovable, unvaluable thing was like a splinter that was in my foot, and then it occasionally would get red and pussy, because that's how it works. So the whole thing is that, and then when you release that personal freedom, I can't even tell you, it's like you just lose all the heaviness. It's just gone. And once you're awake, you're just awake and enlightened with it, it just goes away forever. And then it doesn't mean it doesn't try to come back and you can see it like an observer, but it doesn't have any power over you anymore. That's what we're getting at. So what people are really after, in my opinion, is freedom from whatever it is for you that gets you stuck. And for me, all those words I explained to you, the unlovable, that's all shame, right? Shame is that feeling of being flawed and defective. And for me, the quicksand was shame. All right, so we're looking for freedom from that. And once we're unlocked, man, you're just off and running. The world is your oyster, and the happiness and the inner peace and the calm and all of that comes from that freedom. It unlocks you. And all of this, for all of this to happen with the self-care, and all of it has to have the, as we mentioned, the connection to our divine selves. We've got to get it that we're all connected to each other with our divine selves, because only then can we have real alignment, like my chiropractor cousin Jimmy would say, shoulders over hips over heels, spiritual, emotional, body alignment. We can only have that when we realize our own divinity, and that's just it. All right. So this is Kimberly Quinn signing off after having a wonderful chat on the self-care mindset, which is not that it's a reward, but a responsibility. We must keep ourselves filled up, our cups overflowing, so that we have tons to give out there to the world, and that we are after spiritual freedom. All right, excellent. Signing off from Northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.